INnoVation versus soO here in the WardiTV Spring Championship. As we have got in the bottom left-hand side, a blue Zerg player. This is soO. Taking on the red Terran in the top right-hand side, we have got ourselves INnoVation. It feels like it's been a little while since we actually casted INnoVation versus soO. This is a match which we have playing what feels like kind of frequently, but it does feel like it's been a little while. So yeah, it feels like it's been a little while since we've had the chance to watch this one. As we do just have Hatch, Gas, and Pool coming up, a drone or two underway. And yeah, a little look to see what will happen in the TvZ. A TvZ matchup where INnoVation has continued to look very good as of late. Has been just very convincing, I think, and hasn't really had many weaknesses. We saw him lose to Ragnarok yesterday, and don't get me wrong, I guess he's lost series in TvZ, but overall I think he's looked very good, and he's looked, he's looked more consistent than he's looked kind of floundering around. No one really knows what's going on, which I always think is a good sign. So yeah, it's been very fun to watch INnoVation play lately. I think it's really cool. It's always fun when INnoVation is on a little bit of a hot streak, and when he's, not just showing up and playing, but when he's really doing well in pretty much everything he plays in as well. I think that's very exciting, and that really is what we've been seeing lately, where he's just showing up to a lot of games and he's consistently winning, or at least putting in strong performances. I don't think he's really had many early exits in anything he's played in lately, which is, I mean, for INnoVation fans, it's great. It means we get to see more INnoVation. You guys know me. I'll be the first person to raise my hand and be like, hey, yeah, I'm an INnoVation fan. So, yeah, it has really been a pleasure to have him playing in so much lately, and great to have him playing here in the WardiTV events, WardiTV Spring Championship, of course. We do finish, I believe, if my mathematics is correct, we do finish all of INnoVation's matches today, so we'll know where his kind of final placing in the group is in terms of his score. So we'll be able to talk a bit about that later on. Of course, by the end of the day, we only have a few matches left in this group in general, so then we'll be able to talk a lot about actually where we're at and who we can maybe expect to see playing in the playoffs and all that good stuff, all that exciting stuff, which will be coming up in the future. Playoffs for this event still to be determined, by the way. Not sure exactly when that will be. I've got to look at GSL schedules for the round of 8 and stuff, so you'll have to give me a little bit of time to figure all of that out, guys. But I'll try and keep you all updated as best as possible. I'm going to try and keep this tournament moving along swiftly, nicely, easily, because I don't want to make you guys have to wait around all too much. I know you guys are eager to watch the rest of this event with me. Anyways, a 3cc here from INnoVation. So again, to the 3cc to start. Obviously a little bit of a macro-focused opener. Even just going for a cloakless Banshee here. So this one Banshee, a bit of safety, but not much of an investment because he's just on one gas even still, as the odds on extra barracks. So one safety Banshee, a few Hellions out on the map, nice quick stim pack. And so just economy, straight to bio. And meanwhile, Solo's playing a pretty fast lair. Not Solo, sorry. soO is playing a pretty fast lair here. So a fairly quick lair out of soO. A lair which definitely, I think, raises some questions of what he wants to do. I think more often than not lately, we've just been seeing this be used as a, in case there is, in case he is up against Cloak Banshees, his scouting isn't good here, right? So we've seen a lot of faster lairs just to get the Overseer up in the early stages of the game and to be able to deal with the Banshees more easily. So we've seen that a lot of the time. I think we've also seen a fair amount of just lair to go into faster Spire and faster Mutalisks. It's been a more common way to play as well lately. So we might just be seeing that Spire. I mean, this is absolutely a map where Mutalisks get made. It's a large map. It's a good map for counter-attacking on, and it's a good map for having those mutas to deal with the drops of the Terran, especially because there's so much dead airspace over here and over here. If you just don't have any anti-air, and these medevacs can just sit here waiting and waiting and waiting for the perfect moment, well, that just isn't good. So having the mutas up against that really does help. Whether you need the mutas up, this quickly, well, no, not necessarily. But of course, that's all part of the, it's kind of all part of the fun and games here, I suppose, right? It's, you get the mutas up early, and what they do allow you to do is get aggressive onto the map, and you get to start having a pretty fun time. And you get to start trying to hold the Terran player back, start keeping INnoVation busy, and all of that kind of good stuff. As the 1-1 upgrades and combat shields just making their way through. Banshee in the center here already picking away at a few Zerglings, which are on the watchtower. And these few Hellions making their way down toward the bottom side as we speak. We're just holding the watchtower in general, of course, from INnoVation. Pretty passive play. It means that soO gets to get his creep spread onto the map. It means he doesn't have to worry too much about getting that creep spread out onto the map. Those two medevacs will now boost down the right side. He's just now got stims, so he's going to be able to start cleaning up some creep. But yeah, it does feel like soO's in a pretty safe, secure, pretty comfortable position in general here at the moment. I don't think he's going to be all too worried about what is going on. As a few Lings do sneak by. Yeah, I mean, he's got Bane speed as well, right? So while he is very late on the upgrades, and that's quite typical of playing this fast Mutalist style, and he is very late on upgrades. It's going to be 1-1 finished as 1-1 starts, and that's obviously a big disadvantage. But yeah, you're going to have the mutas out already, so these drops won't do too much, and these are all the things that help you out to make up for being down the upgrades, and well, INnoVation just not looking at those two medevacs, and that is a hell of a catch. Wow, those two Banelings, they just rolled in and they just did damage. Bunch of Marines going down there as the mutas coming up the right side in towards the natural expansion. A little bit of damage done. The Marines taking some hits. And we do just see 2-2 on the way up from INnoVation. 1-1 from the side of soO. I mean, the 2-2 timing could be very dangerous here, obviously, but let's see how it sets up for the moment. There's a medevac a bit far forwards. It's going to start pulling away. There's Banshee coming out the right-hand side. And all of our Mutalisks are going to come into the center, picking off a Marine right there. 15 more Banelings just continuing to come on through as the +1 flyer attack on the Spire is on the way up as well. So again, that +1 flyer attack rolling. Tanks already getting set up here, and actually good target fire on the Banelings initially. The Hellbats soak up a lot of the Baneling connections. Well, that was actually a really good initial start to this, I think, for INnoVation, but he will not try and press the issue. A little bit surprised. This, at the very least for me, this is an opportunity to get forwards and clean creep. I guess he's afraid of going one step too far and not being able to lift back into the medevacs and then fly away because the mutas are right there and in pretty good numbers too. So I imagine that is the fear from INnoVation there as this command center sets up on the third location. That's going to be our fourth base ready to move out sooner rather than later. And soO's still just morphing extra Banelings ready for the next stage of the fight here. Mutalisks will fly the way across to manage the Banshee. Removes that from the left-hand side. Just looking for some creep spread denial. Anything you can get is obviously good. As INno's point of view right now is that there is kind of creep all over the map, which is a little bit scary, obviously, as a Thor out, and that will help to deflect the Mutalisks away from the three bases. Looks like the mutas were able to get one SCV that was built in the command center, slowing that down ever so slightly. As the rest of these Lings are going to start running in, Marines firing away and getting quite a bit done to start there. The rest of this army. Moving down the bottom right-hand side, we do see a few of these bio units off over to the right. A little bit of creep still pushing up the left-hand side here from soO as well, so a couple of creep teams just continue to make their way up the left-hand side. Those are going to be finishing up and just seeing the rest of the Bioforce from INnoVation all joining up together as well. Still just hanging out in the center as a fourth base does drop down in location, so able to start that 3-3 upgrades on the way out from INnoVation on the engineering base. Remember that upgrades are one of INnoVation's big advantages, but it really feels the map control that soO has gained from the Mutalisks, which has turned into all of this creep spread as well, is going to make INnoVation very afraid of pushing. He's going to start moving out again now. Already has defenses set up on the fourth base. Not planetary yet, so nice to see him really committing units there to make sure this base gets up without being hindered, without being slowed down or anything like that. Fire just pressing forwards, and a few creep teamers going down at the moment. A little bit more bio continuing forwards, and of course, a few more creep teamers that can go down. Lings and Bane's going to go rolling in, and the bio just getting off the creep. We'll turn and clean out a few more creep tumors. Some more creep being picked away at here. Middleists, sorry, do fly in and pick off a Marauder. Just down the left-hand side, a bit more creep spread being cleaned up. And we will see a hatchery killed off. So INnoVation at least making some progress on the left side. And these few units will lift and run the hell away. Try and get back towards his planetary fortress. Away he goes. As the Middleists, though, flying in. And obviously, with the ability to engage into these Marines, just has the numbers, able to get a few kills. Well, INnoVation is not going to let up on the right side. He is already set up over here, and a few reinforcing Widow Mines are going to come across as he scans, gets some creep spread. Marauder's leading the charge, and now he will stim everything again. It's a mess of a fight. No idea what's blowing up what, but what I do know is there's a lot of Marines left in the back lines. And when there's a lot of Marines left in the back lines, the numbers from INnoVation should be able to push through until there's reinforcing Banes, and the Bane's only just now on the way up. I mean, soO was making his way in towards Hive. The Ultra was cabin about to complete, but that's not here yet. He still has to fight this bio army with just pulling Bane Meter for a little while longer. But for the moment, INnoVation taking some good fights. Good creep denial, obviously. Pushes back a lot of this creep here to get you closer to this forward base. And that's kind of your target throughout here, as we do see on the right side a little bit of a stim, and you'll get rid of a few of these creep tumors. So a couple creep tumors already picked off. Still a larger push coming in towards the forward hatchery here, as we see the couple of extra creep tumors dropping down. I mean, I guess we've got a position as a couple of Marauders come through as well. Got a position where INnoVation is just kind of forcing a fight, because you need to protect this base. I mean, for soO, this is the last fight you have to take until Ultras are out. Of course, Ultras don't have their upgrades just yet, and especially not just the chitinous, but even just +3 carapace, because +3 attack is done for the Terran. So first Ultras here, they're not going to be overly eager to, again, fight in just yet. soO just trying to trickle a few units in at a time, trying to slow down the push forwards of the bio. INnoVation getting in on top of the hatchery and starting to deal just that little bit of extra damage. A few hits going off, Hatch taking some shots. Bane's pressing forwards, and they're going to go straight through Marines in some trouble. As our bio force continues forwards. Already firing away, and the Mutilist taking some shots. Lings, Banes, Ultras up this right-hand side, and the bio army will continue to pull away. And that is going to be the pushback as the Chitinous plane kicked in. The Ultras decided to commit forwards. With that commitment forwards, the bio army decides to back off from this and just go into the, well, the next stage of everything, which is going to be the Ghosts. So a few Ghosts already on the way up. The 2 Liberators will be building and coming to the left-hand side. And INnoVation building a 5th CC behind this too. If there's one thing that hasn't really happened this game, there's not really been a lot of counterattacks, you know, aiming to take down bases of the Terran. You know, oftentimes when you see this Ling Bane kind of style, especially with the Mutilist, you, like this, right? You go again and again and again with units to go and try and kill off bases. You throw Banelings at the planetaries. And that denial of the economy of the Terran is one of the reasons you get away with playing less efficiently as the Zerg. So INnoVation just being sat on 76 workers all this time is very scary for soO. And I mean, he's starting to rectify that now with this Baneling attack that will go in from the top left side. At the same time, though, he's still trying to fight at the frontier, and a couple of Liberators helping to support. The first Ghost showing up to help get some snipes on the Ultralisks. Now our Baneling's already rolling in towards the 12 o'clock. Planetary Fortress firing, getting a few Banes to begin with. Obviously, this is not the sort of base you end up saving here. As the SCV's chased by the Banes, I actually thought he was maybe going to be able to save it. He just had a couple of SCVs that somehow showed up to repair while the Lings were just fighting it. Okay, well, Planetary will go down as we see a couple of Ghosts dropping already. Liberators doing what they can as the Ultras moving through. The Mutilist as well coming by and actually put a lot of pressure on the Terran to make something happen there. Because the Mutilist show up and they can start targeting down the Ghosts too. Just felt like he didn't quite have the snipes he wanted onto those Ultras, and a bit of a better fight from soO. Able to clean up. Obviously those Libs went down pretty quickly as well, so they never really got to deal too much to the Ultras. There's another round of Ling Bane coming through. The Ghosts are in the front. The Ghosts actually do pretty good at tanking Baneling shots if there's only a few of them to worry about. We do have our Army still pressing forward. See a Ghost still sniping away. A little bit more bio continuing through this, and just the reinforcements for INnoVation showing up. There's a great time to deny that 5th base, because all of a sudden INnoVation has been struggling a little bit to keep the economy going here, apparently. You can see it right now. It's pretty low supplies for INnoVation, only sitting at 146. And as soO comes forwards again, we do see a couple of them just going to walk their way into this mineral line. Better watch this fight up here, though, because there's a lot of ghosts that are going to be trying to hold their own. This is not even a planetary fortress. It was just an orbital command that was replaced. And as we see the ghosts do back away, they line up a lot of snipes. The orbital actually survives as well. The meters probably could have got a couple more shots off there to take that down, but they did not go for it. Lings, Banes, and Ultras continuing across the left, as the Mutalisks from soO will go back to the middle of the map. So continuing through the center here. And on the bottom side, a bit of bio will stem in, and already some of these drones being picked away at. Medevac overhead, healing up whatever it can. Ultra showing up. I do think that obviously soO had a very good early little stage of the game, right? You got so much creep up. INnoVation was very passive, very afraid to fight, and I think that is one of the big reasons we're seeing a very aggressive, a soO here, not very aggressive, I don't think it's the word, but just a very optimized soO maybe, where he didn't need to do much to the Terran to really then put the Terran in a bad position once one base went down, and he was able to get a couple of slightly better fights, right? This was at some point like a 7,000 resource loss difference. This is now only 5,000, so you take a couple better fights. The Terran's been mining less, then you deny the economy, so they're mining much less. I mean, that sort of speaks for itself, as we do see the ghosts continue to pull backwards. Ultras just continue to charge on forwards, and now going to start getting on top of these ghosts, which will, well, cloak up and snipe the Ultras down. So Ultras end up dead, as now the Ultras in the mineral line picking off more of these SCVs. 26 workers going down. Bane's turn helping to get rid of the orbital. And INnoVation, if he can't mine from this 5th base, 18 minutes into this game, he's going to be running into a lot of trouble. soO's even added on a handful of infestors to help out here as well. Get some fungal growths onto the ghosts. That seems to be the plan, is pressing forwards here. A few creep tumors already going down. Going to end up on top of this hatchery over on the left-hand side. First infestor fungal growth drops. Another one as well on top of the medevacs. Now hits the ghosts also. The fungal on the ghosts is huge, because what it means is that you're unable to then snipe, because the fungal damage over time cancels a snipe. All it takes is, his widow mines go off too. All it takes is any damage to cancel a snipe. So the ghost pretty much gets nullified in the engagement. Now they're going to just be, they've just been sat here doing auto attack damage basically all this time. And, well, he's pushed soO back up to the high ground. These infestors are out of energy, so for the moment, nothing to worry about there. And still just pushing forwards. The bio unit's getting into the front. Infestor gets taken down. Banelings come crashing through. A few more snipes dropping as all of these Banes get picked away at. And the Ultras still continue to run down the ramp, and they are going to be the issue. This is the one thing the Ghosts can't just auto attack. They need the snipes for that. As he runs back to this planetary fortress, a fungal growth is going to be the end of a few more ghosts there. And now the Lings come streaming through. An INnoVation 90 supply, and really just doesn't seem like he has enough. He will hold on to the planetary fortress, though. Planetary is surviving, holding off the Lings, holding off the Ultralisk. Planetary fortress holds from INnoVation, and back forwards will go once more. As now these queens of creep are going to go down. soO has money in the bank, just is struggling to find a way to spend it. soO will lose these queens. A few more banelings building on the left-hand side. Crew team is continuing out the upper left. Still trying to press forwards. A ghost sniped as well. Picks off another Ultra, and that's going to be GG. soO is going to take game 1 of this best of 3. What a fun first game. INnoVation definitely fighting down to the last few seconds, but it does just feel like soO had a bit too much of an advantage early on. Bottom left-hand side of game number 2 on Zen will be our blue Zerg player from the Afrika Freaks. It is soO. Taking on our red Terran in the top right corner, INnoVation. Refinery will drop after the barracks and reset ourselves into the early moments. The second game. Interested to see where we go here. As an extractor drops down just to the side. Drone scouting around in the middle, the Overlord continuing up. Hatch gas pool. All of this on the way. No real shock, no real surprise on Zen just yet. Max will start up a Reaper already, so Reaper will be underway and just going to be seeing a couple of drones already jumping in towards the extractor. And back to kind of the peaceful few moments of the game after it really was pretty jam-packed on Eternal Empire, right? There was always an attack somewhere or the next attack readying itself. I mean, that's just TvZ in a nutshell, but it was fun, it was active. Definitely just feels like INnoVation was a bit too scared to fight early, though, and then when soO gets all of that creep, he feels very safe. It takes INnoVation a long time to really start getting better fights, and at that point, it was just too difficult. I mean, it's okay probably if he's then able to keep the 5th base alive and he keeps mining, but he lost the 5th base at the time. He lost a bit, you know, a fight a bit worse than usual, and that combination just seemed to be the killer for INnoVation, because the 5 minutes after that happened, he was just not able to reset himself. He just not able to get back in on, you know, he's never back to maxed out. He never really got comfortable in the economy. He never got a new proper command center on the top side. It was always just a new, you know, a replacement orbital, not even a planetary. Third CC from INnoVation will start in the main base, so getting that underway. Third CC coming up here. Reactor dropping down on the barracks and the factory. Just setting up as well. Overlord of soO will fly across into the main base already, having a little bit of a peek. Sees the third CC. This is the scout he wasn't able to get last time, remember? So last time he did not see 3CC at all. He was actually very blind as to what was happening. Typically, I'd say the Mutalisks as well aren't really that great. Like the fastest Lair and the fastest Spire that we saw from soO aren't that great against 3CC, because you're basically opening in an aggressive way to slow the Terran down when the Terran doesn't really care about being slowed down, because they wanted to slow down themselves anyways just to take their initial 3CC and to get a lot of eco going. So typically it's a nice build order advantage for the Terran. Of course, soO just didn't know about it. Now that soO knows about it, we'll see what style he plays. Expect maybe double evolution chamber before the Lair this time around, and double upgrades as the priority. As Queens come in, they kill off the Reaper that makes its way up the left-hand side. And that Banshee is going to be researching Cloak. And the Tech Lab dropping down on the barracks. As we start with game number 2. 4 minutes in. It's going to be a faster Lair again, so soO sees it and still decides to go for the faster Lair. So I imagine a similar plan to last time. This time he might not rush the Mutalist though. This time it might just be because there's Cloak Banshees on the way. Maybe he just wants that Lair for the Overseers. So we'll see if he wants to invest into the Spire or not. Like I say, the fast, you know, going into Lair for the Overseer and the faster Bane speed has been more of a thing lately as well, even if you don't rush out the Mutalist too. So we shall see. As the barracks back down into the main base, dropping a Tech Lab. Let's try and come across and kill an Overlord over here, but there was no Overlord there, so unfortunately that Rax went on a journey with no success. 8 Hellions, very aggressive from INnoVation as he brings all of them out to the left-hand side. Just to see what he can do with them, as pushing forward, going to be coming through, and already a couple of creep teamers out the front, so it's very hard to get very far or very deep towards that third base without just running into a bit of a brick wall. Because the Queens have good warning. The Queens are able to get positioned, and the Queens are then able to deal with this with relative ease. Hellions still joined up in the center. There's the Hellions coming back around into the middle. Couple of drones picked off as the Banshees come in. 5, 6 workers already going down. Make that 7, make that 8. Able to get 8 drones there already as the Banshees into the back of the natural. Going to find a bunch more kills as well. soO is doing a lot of damage here. Sorry, INnoVation is doing a lot of damage here as soO takes some serious damage. What is this? 18 kills? My goodness, these Banshees having more than just a field day. They're going to get promotions after this. One thing I like from soO, at least, is that the upgrades are a little faster than they were last game, so they're not going to be as Terran favored this time around. Look at that. This one Banshee even still just forcing drones to pull away. He does not want to lose any more. INnoVation already takes a huge lead off of that. I mean, that's massive, as the Banshees will now go down, but obviously the job is done. What an amazing effort from those Banshees. There's 3 more Banelings coming through, 9 drones in production as well. We will have 2 Medivacs and Hellions of INnoVation making their way around this top side. So a few Marines unloading over to the upper left. We do have a few Mutalisks flying forwards as well. 1 SCV, 2 SCVs go down. Into the 3rd base. Missile turret is just going to finish a moment too late. Mutas pushed away as the... Well, Hellions showing up to help fight the Lings. Marines pulling backwards. A few more Lings dropping. And this Hatchery will be killed off. So Hatchery going down. And 4 SCVs taking down his all. Well, and soO comes back in. He's looking for a little bit more of this Mutalisk count. Honestly, it's only 5 meters now, building up to a few more. There's meters elsewhere already, I guess. But yeah, the meter count that's actually here harassing, not that high. Is INnoVation continuing to make his way onto the creep spread, which he will just scan and clean out a little bit of. It's just pushing back the control of soO. And soO on a 4th base building, but of course it's a very late 4th base. All this pressure from INnoVation is adding up. The meters at least making a dive and getting rid of 1 medevac. At this stage, soO needs a little bit of anything he can get. As INnoVation will keep on pressing forwards. These tanks will siege. Lings and Banes continue through. Banes crashing into the siege tanks here. Marines will continue forwards as the Hellions are morphed into Hellbats. And again, these Marines just continue to press into this. Another creep tumor gets picked off. And this other siege tank is going to press in as well. Oh, 1 tank already going down. These Marines actually make their way up to the high ground here. Mutas back in, picking off a medevac. These Marines will continue on this hatchery. Lings running through, the couple of Banes on the way as well. And it's a scary position for soO to fight into. You're pushing into choke points. You're trying to come down ramps. It's not pretty at all, actually, as we see these extra queens dropping a few more creep tumors here. Banes pressing forwards as Marines pulling back. A couple of drones go down. Banes already in on top of a medevac here, and the medevac taking quite a bit of damage. First one falls. The rest of the Lings all coming through. The Marines sitting on the ramp as well. Actually having a pretty good time trying to press forwards. The rest of the Banes coming through, connecting in and doing a pretty decent job. The tanks sieged up. The problem is it's just so difficult to ever really get rid of everything here. And you can see the medevacs coming in to heal a few Marines to try to respond to the mutas picking off the siege tank. INnoVation is just continuing to trade very well, and now he's got 2-2 upgrades. He's just going to continue rallying across the map. 4th base building in location. You know, if you want to talk about confidence and belief that you're winning a game, building your 4th base in position against a Zerg is basically a I don't believe you have any hope right now. Like, that is because it only takes a couple Lings to get across that encounter, but he just doesn't even think soO will have that opportunity. As well, the Marines protecting the tanks are maybe the one thing they're having some difficulty with, just because they can't get in front of the tanks, so the tanks are kind of holding that ramp. Is there any Banelings left, though? Okay, there's a handful here that are already pressing forward. That's the only reason INnoVation doesn't just commit through already. And he kind of wants this Hellbat to go and soak up a few of these Bane shots, I think. The natural expansion continue to take some damage. Mutalisks will come over. Marines taking a few more shots. The Marauder leading the charge still. Extra Zerglings still going down. Banelings rolling in. Actually taking a few hits on the Marauder there. Oh, the Marines in the corner, though, are going to be stuck without any support. No way out. No medevac over there. Extra few Banelings go down, but that's it. There's no Banelings left, right? I think INnoVation's gotten to the point but there's no Banes, and it's the one moment where he actually takes a second to back away. Okay, well, he's going to let a few Banelings come up here. Oh, a Thor just in the middle of nowhere. Intercepted. There's a few Widow Mines joining the party as well. soO will continue to expand to the upper left-hand side. We've basically had our screens fixed in this position, because this fight here has taken place over the last 2 minutes or so. INnoVation around in the middle. Planetary Fortress is going to be, well, on the bottom right-hand side. Marines already pushing forwards. The middle is and away to the left, and a few group jammers being picked away at. Need some medevacs go to the top side now as the Widow Mines will burrow. A couple of group jammers picked off. Rest of INnoVation's army still hanging around. 3-3 upgrades plus 2 vehicle plating. Thor all in production as a Changeling comes up this left side, trying to find where this Terran army is. I mean, INnoVation just going for a different approach this time. As he maxes out, he's just trying to hit this 4th base. Of course, soO is basically just stuck on lair tech at the moment. Doesn't really have anywhere to go from here. There's more Marines rallying out to the front. Lings taking a lot of damage. Bane's trying to come through. Widow Mine can't really do anything, and this ain't pretty, as the meter's just going to stay on top of this planetary fortress off to the side. We see all the Banes continuing forwards. And that's just not really good enough, I don't think. soO, is it? There's a lot of medevacs here. Okay, there is some Marines underneath, but I'm going to have to lift up. Okay, well, soO's killed the 4th base. But INnoVation pulled the SCVs, so yeah, these meters counterattacking and soO defending at the same time. The game's turning around a little bit here. I mean, suddenly your 3 bases INnoVation 13 minutes in the game, and that isn't good to begin with. Yeah, he just didn't defend these Mutalisks, and at the same time got cleaned up. Now, if these Mutas are able to do this, and then you kill a base yourself as INnoVation because the Muta's out of position, then great. But he didn't find a fight like that. And soO is kind of making this work. Well, great play by the Mutalisks. As we do see, okay, he has got the main base orbital relocating, so he'll try and take a forward 4th base. That's not a planetary. That's always dangerous. And so it is just dangerous, I think, is the only real way to say that. So we'll move it through. Marine's going to come in and find a lot of Ling Bane here. This is off creep. Remember, we are still stuck on lair tech though as soO, so it's a bit of a weird position where INnoVation has a full set of upgrade advantage. soO is not able to make any progress towards Hive. So soO is very much so stuck, but I actually think while soO is very much so stuck, INnoVation is very much so struggling to maybe get enough up to really end this. A couple of good Widow Mine shots there actually do take a lot of Banelings out at once. Just back in, able to get rid of a few more SCVs. A couple of Widow Mines get picked off. So he goes down the right as the rest of the Thors, a couple of Marauders. The center here from INnoVation still coming across the left-hand side. The first station pit is about to finish up in the main. Bio gonna stem, a lot of Ling Bane being picked away at. Bio gonna go splitting up. As you see, the Banelings all going down. INnoVation still trailing a bit in supply. He's now floating the natural expansion out to the top side, so he's gonna have 2 new bases. But 2 new, well, 2 new bases that are A, orbitals, so very weak to counters, and B, I mean, he's given up still some mining that was in the main and some mining that was in the natural, so it's not exactly perfect here as INnoVation sitting just on the edge of creep. Ling Bane runs forwards, the Mutalisks join the fight. I think is there just too many medevacs even? Like, I feel like I'm looking at INnoVation's army supply and it's okay, but then 15, 30 army supply is medevacs. A little bit less now as a couple just got picked off, but Ling's gonna go running through as well. This is the scenario where actually having a planetary force just saves the game, because now a planetary just fights off these Lings and it's no problem at all. With an orbital, it's just not a thing, and INnoVation is gonna question mark as soO laughs a little bit, and INnoVation is gonna start losing the SCVs on this left-hand side. soO is gonna make this best of 3 work out. It really looked as though this game number 2 was absolutely under INnoVation's control for the entire time. But yeah, just a bad fight or 2, and soO got back in it. It's kind of crazy. I mean, losing the 4th base, right? I mean, I think no matter what happened on the other side, that was fine. But losing the 4th base in tandem with getting cleaned up. It's kind of what happened in the last game. You know, INnoVation took a worse fight and lost a base at the same time. Even worse case this time is question mark. Why are you still in my game? Why won't you die? As INnoVation refuses to leave. The Marines still setting up in the front. The Mutalisks will go diving in towards the top side mineral line. So this is another mineral line that's just unprotected. We'll get a medevac as he leaves with the Mutalisks. Nope, doesn't quite. He's just flying everywhere at the moment as INnoVation trying to survive. Okay, in fairness, right, look at this. It's 140 to 120 supply. INnoVation is kind of making this work. Maybe soO got a little bit too overeager. A little bit too overeager. I mean, now soO starts up the hive. Now soO says, well, okay, I'll tech up a little bit more. And yes, INnoVation's work account is down on 46, so not looking pretty. soO's typing a lot of question marks right now as INnoVation suddenly comes across the map looking to fight. Widowmines are going to bow her up. Main lane's Zergling's going to get blown up as well. It's amazing Widowmine shots to start, and INnoVation is going to go on the hunt here. Pressing forwards, we're going to have this hatchery in a lot of trouble. Mutas want to come through, but they just can't justify without some support. These Banelings are going to get the Widowmines. That's massive. All three of them clumped up there. This hatchery obviously can be healed by the transfusions. A couple more Widowmines showing up. Where's INnoVation getting all of these mines from? 4 Banelings morphing, not ready just yet. The mines move forwards again. Gonna go off on a couple lings that were kind of towards the bio. Now gets one off towards the Mutalisk. This hatchery will go down. INnoVation is now going to make his target the top left-hand base, I imagine. Now, soO has a base on the bottom side as well, though. Another couple of Widowmines pressing forwards. This is still just Zerglings, though. Widowmines all over the shop. Is it enough? Mutalisk still overhead as well. Remember, this is 3-3 against 2-2, so these Marines are having a very good time. INnoVation supply is dropping heavily, but you can't help but love the effort to try and make this work out. These last few 3-3 Marines on top of some drones. Widowmine is going to retarget a few times over. Hits the Mutalisks. Now I think INnoVation is dead as he only has 31 SCVs remaining. His economy is just not strong enough. He loads up this base and he's going to take it to the original 4th location. INnoVation. As the SCVs are going to get into fight, INnoVation's work count drops even lower. He's still attacking across the map. But now the Banelings are coming through, and the Banelings should be able to stop the upgrade advantage from having such an effect here. As the Mutas continuing out into the middle. Marines to the upper left. A few more drones going down. A lot of drones going down. You just can't get rid of these Mutalisks at the moment, so you will kill the top left-hand base. soO having the bottom side base is going to very much so keep him in this. And as the lanes, the Banes still rolling through, and the SCVs will be chased away. All these SCVs going down. Just a few more lings on the way up, and just going to be seeing the Marines able to try and get this hatchery. Will not get there. GG is called, and soO will take a pretty epic game number 2 from the jaws of defeat into victory. soO 2-0 over INnoVation.